With all eyes on Taiwan, tensions are building on another Chinese frontier. India. Just 16 months ago, Chinese and Indian troops fought a deadly hand-to-hand battle in the Himalayas along the line of actual control, the ill-defined de facto border between the two nuclear powers. And now, tensions appear to be rising again.
According to unverified reports, troops from both sides have been briefly detained by the other, as military positions are fortified and talks to de-escalate the situation seem at an impasse. After that battle, in which at least 20 Indian and 4 Chinese troops were killed, respective military leaders have held face-to-face talks to dampen lingering tensions.
The Indian side pointed out that the situation along the LAC had been caused by unilateral attempts of the Chinese side to alter the status quo and in violation of the bilateral agreements, the statement said. The Indian side therefore made constructive suggestions for resolving the remaining areas, but the Chinese side was not agreeable and also could not provide any forward-looking proposals.
Beijing sees the situation differently. China has made great efforts to promote the easing and cooling of the border situation and fully demonstrated its sincerity in order to maintain the overall situation of the relations between the two militaries. However, India still insisted on the unreasonable and unrealistic demands, which made the negotiations more difficult, said a statement from Colonel Long Shahua, spokesperson for the People's Liberation Army Western Theatre Command.
An extensive article in China's state-run Global Times tabloid ratcheted up the rhetoric, accusing India of triggering new incidents along the eastern section of the border. But over the past few weeks, both Indian and Chinese media have run stories about the unverified fresh confrontations along the LAC, all of which have reportedly been resolved peacefully. Global Times said the unverified encounters had strained relations along the border. Chinese experts have warned of the risks of a new conflict, saying that China should not only refuse to give in to India's arrogant demands at the negotiating table, but also be prepared to defend against new Indian military aggression, the report said. That was followed by claims from PLA garrisons on the Himalayan frontier, describing tense daily working conditions with alarms going off, commanders leading patrols at the front and soldiers writing appeals for battle assignments, according to Global Times. The report also touted Chinese efforts to build infrastructure in the region, saying the moves had boosted troops' morale and ability to move to hotspots along the LAC. Sees that Washington attaches great importance to New Delhi, as U.S. President Joe Biden has frequently interacted with the Indian government since taking office, and jointly discussed plans to thwart China's growth. Li Minwang, professor with the Institute of International Studies at Fudan University, is quoted as saying in the Global Times report. In an opinion piece after the Quad Summit, Li Haidong, professor at the Institute of International Relations of the China Foreign Affairs University, wrote the Quad members will not stop hyping up the China threat theory. Amid the PLA Air Force incursions around Taiwan earlier this month, the Global Times said the US and Japan were pushing the situation around the self-ruled island to the brink, creating a sense of urgency that the war may be triggered at any time. In a headline over Monday's Global Times story on the Himalayas said PLA border troops were prepared for upcoming confrontations. All in on biodiversity, China is investing $232 million into a biodiversity protection fund for developing countries, President Xi Jinping said Tuesday during a United Nations Biodiversity Summit. Xi announced the fund's creation during a virtual address at the 15 Colombian pesos conference held in Kunming, China. China calls for and welcomes contributions from other parties to the fund, Xi said. Areas with the greatest importance to the natural ecosystem, and with the most unique natural landscapes, the most valuable natural heritage and the greatest biodiversity reserve will be included in the national parks system, Xi told the conference. This week marks the opening of the largely ceremonial first phase of talks during the 15 Colombian pesos conference, with countries scheduled to meet in person in Kunming from April to May next year. The goal is to create a Paris-style legally binding UN agreement between participating nations to prevent biodiversity loss over the coming decade. And the stakes are growing ever higher. A fifth of the world's countries now risk having their ecosystems collapse, according to Swiss Re, the world's largest reinsurer.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.